that time of the week now. Get out the sunscreen, get out the sunglasses, maybe get out the rain jacket or the umbrella. We're going to talk about the upset forecast for this upcoming slate in Week 5. It is a loaded slate, a game that we actually already predicted. I want to start with. We have Colorado and USC. USC going to Boulder, Colorado. It is no secret now. USC's had some issues on the defensive side of the football. This is the game where we have to see an upward trend from USC's defense, and we'll talk more about a little bit later in the final thoughts prediction segment. But Colorado now, if you're watching the Arizona State tape from USC, Arizona State, in a lot of ways, had some trick plays in there and kind of threw the kitchen sink at times. But to the exact same token, there were some times where they're just running inside zone and getting what they want. Scadaboo's got like 100 yards rushing on the day. Drew Pine's back there throwing one-on-one and feeling pretty good about doing it, and their guys are coming down with the football. So if those playmakers from Arizona State can get it done against USC, maybe Colorado can do it. Xavier Weaver, not Xavier Worthy. Xavier Weaver is a guy that I expect to see the football a whole lot in this game. Jimmy Horn Jr., also a threat to make some big plays against this Trojan defense. If USC doesn't bring their A game on the back end, Colorado will score points. The key to this one, though, is are they allowed to take advantage of those matchups with what happens in the front seven? Because I promise you, USC, they watched that tape against Oregon, too, for Colorado. And they saw them just get bullied. I mean, just straight up take your lunch money, make you take the long way home from school kind of bullied is what Oregon did to that Colorado offensive line. So USC, they have the personnel up front to do that. But Sean Lewis now, if he can scheme it up a little bit, get Shedeur Sanders into some quick game, get him some easy access throws. Heck, maybe get him on the move a little bit. Have him roll out and run away from those big boys up front. Some good things could happen. So we already gave you our pick in this game. We think USC wins this football game. But the chance of upset now, we got it at 22%, according to our calculations. And those calculations are strictly based on how we feel in our gut. So those are the calculations for you. Arizona welcoming Washington. And this is a game that Arizona is 18.5-point dogs. Arizona gets to the quarterback now. They have, I believe, a top 25 sack rate in the country. Also, they're pretty solid against the run. Only allowing a right around 3 yards a carry. It's good for 26 in the country. And my thing with Washington, they're enormously talented. They've been so dominant. You have people talking about them being one of the best teams, if not the best team in the country, based on what they've done to this point. I understand that. You know how we feel about Washington here? I love Washington. I wish we could just talk about how elite I think Washington is. But instead, because I don't have them as a top 5 team in the country, we get some pushback. That's fine. It's whatever. This conversation around the upset forecast isn't going to help us. But I'm curious to see if Arizona, if they can limit the pass game, they can get to Michael Penix Jr., if they can at least manage the pass game. And when I say manage the pass game, I mean manage the pass game on the defensive side of things. I'm curious to see what Washington does. Because we haven't seen Washington be in a spot yet where they're not able to throw the ball all around the yard. They're like almost 600 yards of total offense right now, scoring right around 50 a game. If it gets muddy, if it gets ugly, maybe this could play into Arizona's hands, and it's a bit of a game in the fourth quarter. I'm not predicting it. I'm just saying if we're forecasting it, that would be a situation where this game could be very, very intriguing. Now, here's the big kicker if you're Arizona. You may or may not have Jayden de Laura. At the time of us being live, no idea if he's playing or not. I have no idea if we'll know that he's playing or not before this game, but right now, have no clue. If he plays, he brings that mobile element to Arizona's pass game, and he also, just quite frankly, could be a game plan breaker against Washington with what they do defensively. Hard to scheme for a mobile quarterback. Like, you drop the right play, but still, they make plays, and you're just like, man, I don't know. We had the right play. He just went Houdini on us and threw a touchdown pass. I don't know. I'm not saying that happens. I'm saying that's available to you if Jayden de Laura plays. So if he plays, I think Arizona has a 24% chance of upset. To upset Washington, that is. Without him, don't like them nearly as much. I don't see how you can match scores with Washington in that space. Even if the defense holds it down for a minute, you got to be able to keep some kind of pace with Washington because I think they will still score a fair amount of points. Without him, got him at an 11% chance of upset for the Cats. That's a good one, though. I think it's a sneaky game. Make sure you're tuned into that one here. It'll be a late night one, little caffeine special. Break open the Red Bull. Maybe get you a little coffee. It's pumpkin cream season at Starbucks. Get you one of those to cap off the night. I'm just saying, keep an eye on that one. You'll want to stay up for it. Alabama at Mississippi State. Mississippi State, 14.5-point dogs. And I'm not talking about the mascot. How fixed is this Bama offense? Fixed is maybe even the wrong word to use, but we saw this offense without Jalen Milroe now go out against USF and score less than 20 points. We saw them against Ole Miss look a lot better. Jalen Milroe still threw an interception you don't love to see, but even so, like, you feel better about the offense with him running the show. I'm just saying I'm not 100% sold on Bama's offense just yet. I think they have all the tools to do it, but I haven't seen them consistently execute yet. So factor then into the mix that Mississippi State was just launching bombs. Absolutely just launching bombs against South Carolina last weekend. Now, some of that, I think, has to do with South Carolina. I think some of that, though, you also look at Tulu Griffin. He was putting up road to glory kind of numbers, y'all. It's like 256 yards, a touchdown, and 7 catches. That's a stat line I'd put up in my freshman year if I'm doing a wide receiver with road to glory. Like, that's the kind of numbers I'm doing with my player. Tulu Griffin did it in real life. Okay, so obviously, Alabama's secondary will present some different challenges. But our rule around here when it comes to upsets, if you have a quarterback, you have a chance. And Mississippi State has a quarterback in Will Rogers. So for them, we put them at a 16% chance to upset Alabama. I still think the physicality of Alabama is going to be too much. I also worry about Mississippi State going enough to the pass game to be able to take advantage of Tulu Griffin and Will Rogers, but that's the matchup you got to watch for Mississippi State. If you can go to the well enough times, things could get tricky. And again, this could be a little fourth quarter special where you're checking the ticker, and all of a sudden a game that you weren't really planning to watch with Alabama Mississippi State becomes must-see TV. So keep an eye on that one. That'll be a whole lot of fun. And again, we give them a 16% chance of upset. So don't cancel the picnic because of the rain forecast. I'm just saying keep your plans, but keep an eye on those clouds. Could be intriguing. Another game we already predicted, but I think we got to circle back to here. Auburn plus 15.5 with Georgia coming to Jordan-Hare. And I think, to be honest with y'all, I think that a upset in this spot for Auburn, if they were to beat Georgia at the crib, I think it requires Robbie Ashford at quarterback. I'm not calling for Peyton Thorne to be benched. I'm not calling for him to not play well. I'm just saying in this exact spot, Robbie Ashford has a little bit more of the element of surprise. From what I can see, I think the offense has a little bit more direction with him playing quarterback. A little bit more of a design quarterback run element is available to you. Peyton Thorne can run the football now. Kirby Smart made sure to say that during his press conference this week. Peyton Thorne's a good athlete. I just think Robbie Ashford has a different gear to him, and I think that X factor is what you would need in a game like this. I also think when you talk about X factors, it's a rivalry game. Like, we all understand now when it comes to rivalry weekend, and this is not rivalry weekend, but it's a rivalry spot in the Deep South's oldest rivalry, we kind of throw records out the window. You throw logic out the window. You say, yeah, we know what was true up to this point, but to a degree, like, it's a rivalry. We don't actually really know what's going to happen. So that's the beauty of this thing. We're not picking Georgia to lose this football game. We actually already predicted Georgia to win this football game, but you still have to kind of keep an eye on the fact that Carson Beck, first road start now, in a not too easy environment in Jordan-Hare. That place will be rolling. That place will be rocking. You wonder how he responds. I think he'll respond well, but there's definitely a world where the wheels come off the wagon for Carson Beck. A couple of turnovers. This Auburn team has life, and they start scoring points. And, like, all that's to say, percent chance of upset, baking in the rivalry factor, we're going to put this at a 20% chance of upset for Auburn. We already picked Georgia to win the football game. But in terms of the path to an upset, I think it exists for Auburn. The line also, just so we're clear, has been kind of moving around here. The best odds you can find right now are Auburn plus 15.5. I think I've seen 14.5 out there as well. Regardless, that's how we feel about the upset slate for this week. We're not calling our shot here. We're just giving you a forecast. We're trying to be an asset, a resource, a tool, if you will, for y'all. But regardless, going to be a phenomenal slate when it comes to week 5 of the college football season, as is every single weekend in this beautiful game that you love, that we love. Make sure you're subscribed right here. I sat right here this time last week. I said, I promise you, we got some winners. Do what you want to do. What happened? We got you some winners. And if you rolled with us on Prize Picks, then your bank account benefited. So I'm sitting here telling you the exact same thing. We don't lose. We don't lose around here. So I'm calling our shot again. Some more Prize Pick squares for you. Use JD 100% deposit match when you redeem that through Prize Picks. Okay, so code JD 100% deposit match up to $100. Okay, so you put down 100, they put down 100. and then we retire on an island somewhere. So enough of that. Here's what we like this week in Prize Picks. Brock Bowers, they're giving us a half touchdown, either rushing or receiving. Brock Bowers is the alien that the government has already told us exists. He just wears number 19 and plays for Georgia every Saturday. Cash in the more right there. Jaden Daniels, half a rushing touchdown. We've gone to this well before. We cashed in with that. We're going back to it. We'll take the more there on the rushing touchdown for Jaden Daniels. Will Shipley, a familiar sight, half a rushing touchdown. We took it last week against Florida State. All good. We'll keep rolling with it. Another half rushing touchdown against Syracuse this week. We like the more. We like it a lot. We're rolling with that. KJ Jefferson, 1.5 passing touchdowns against this Texas A&M defense. I think there's gold in those hills, and it's just waiting for us. We'll take the more. A lot of mores. If you're noticing a theme here, we root for good things to happen to good people. Sorry we root for points. Sorry we root for guys to realize their dreams and score touchdowns and throw touchdowns in big-time college football games. All right? Sorry about that. Marshawn Lloyd, 92.5 rush yards against Colorado. I watched the tape. You probably watched the tape or you saw it in real time. Those Colorado linebackers had absolutely zero interest in contact with a pulling guard from Oregon. USC, they like to pull the offensive lineman a fair amount. They'll do it on counter. They'll do it on power. Regardless, Marshawn Lloyd will take the more there with 92.5 rush yards. I hope that Colorado can match scores there a little bit so we're able to get that more there, because I would hate to see Marshawn Lloyd be sipping some Powerade in the third quarter, sitting at like 75 rushing yards. So keep an eye on that. We like the more there. Now, Bo Collins, 51.5 receiving yards against Syracuse. Listen, we're a more kind of show. We think more is more. However, in this spot, we got to exercise some better judgment. Bo Collins has not had more than 51 receiving yards against any FBS opponent yet this year. Bo Collins, I love Bo Collins. Bo Collins from where I'm from in Southern California. Went to St. John Bosco High School. Like, have all the admiration in the world for Bo Collins. However, Bo, we're going less on 51.5 receiving yards this week in Syracuse. Nothing personal. I hope you prove us wrong. But for the sake of this Prize Picks lineup, we hope that you're right around 51 flat. How about that? So, again, redeem code JD, 100% deposit match, up to $100. If you put 40 down and we hit on all 6 of those squares, $1,000. Okay, so you go ahead and put down 20, redeem code JD, 100% deposit match. They'll get you another 20. You put that all in on this one. I'm just saying, pay for those Christmas presents just a little bit early. If we get 5 correct, you double it. And if we get 4 correct, you're not leaving empty-handed. So that's the Prize Picks lineup for us. I'll also put that on my Twitter page, so follow me there at JD Purkell to stay up with all that we got here on the Prize Picks side of things. We appreciate Prize Picks being for the people, by the people, and making sure that we get to enjoy this college football Saturday, as we should, with some Prize Picks squares. Hey y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.